Let's talk about the books I read in 2024. Hello beautiful people, welcome to my channel. This is the first time on my channel. Welcome for the first time. This is your first time. Welcome back. Super excited to be filming this video. My battery is literally so low, but anyways, you guys will be seeing this video in the new year, so happy new year. Welcome to 2025. I hope this year is way better than we expect. We gotta do exceedingly and abundantly above all that we think or we ask. Yeah, amen. Let's get into this video. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in 2024. We're going to talk about statistics first before we go into the books I read in 2024. Honestly, 2024 wasn't my best reading year. Ever since I started reading again, it wasn't my best reading year at all. There was just so much going on. There was so much I had to attend to, so much that took my attention, and I couldn't read for relaxing as much as I would want to read for relaxing. I feel like I only started having a good reading year at the end of the year, which is not bad. It's also not great as well. But yeah, for my reading goal, I set a goal of 50 books, and unfortunately, I couldn't even meet that goal, which is crazy to me because the year before that, I read 110 or 20 books, and I struggled to even read 50 books. Wild. But I could only read 34 out of the 50 books that I set to read, and we're going to be talking about those 34 books in this video. I have my Goodreads here. If you would like to follow me on Goodreads, you can just check the description box. Everything is there. Whatever platform you want to follow me on, whatever side of Marvel you want to see, the description box is open. Check it and follow. Let's get into today's video. For the total amount of books, like I said, 34 books. Total pages read 10,418. Shortest book was No Gravity by Rudy Francisco. Longest book was Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. Average book length was 306, and the book that is the most shelved book that I read was Six of Crows, and least shelved book, like people are not so familiar with this book, is The One Who Holds Me by Joan Mbola. My average rating for 2024 was 3.6 stars. You can see that it wasn't such a great reading year for me. The highest rated book on Goodreads from the books I've read was Closer to God Each Day. This was my devotional. Yes, I include my devotionals in my reading wrap up. And my first review of the year, like the one that I intentionally wrote something about, was When I Think of You. Now let's get into all the books I read in 2024. I'm going to be going in the order that I read the book, so we're going to have to do in January, February, like that. So let's start with January. In January, I read a total of 6 books, and here are the books. First was Unsteady. This is supposed to be in a series, and this is the first book. It's a hockey romance in college. The lady is the grumpy one, the guy is the sunshine, I guess. I'm not so sure. I can't remember too much about it. Also don't know if there are scenes or pages that I skipped in this book, but you know, I feel like because it's a hockey romance and a lot of romance books have those scenes, I am guessing that this one also has it. I rated this book 3 stars, nothing spectacular, just regular romance. Like I said, I can't remember anything about it, but I don't even remember reading this book in the first place, so it's gonna be a 3 star. Next book I read was Falling Off the Cliff, another book in a series. I'm not continuing the series as well. Also, the previous book I talked about, I'm not continuing the series as well. Was nothing so spectacular. Okay, Falling Off the Cliff, I rated this book 3 stars as well, and I think it has to do with car racing thing. It's a sports romance, that's all you need to know. It was sports romance. It was okay. I can't remember anything apart from the scene that they met, and after that my brain is just blank, like nothing is coming forward. But I read this book 3 stars as well. Next book I read was A Heart So Fierce and Broken. This is the second book in the Curse Breakers series. I started reading this book the year before. I was in 2023, but I finished it in 2024. It was okay, it was good, but I don't think the way book 1 prepared me for book 2, I don't think this book 2 is preparing me for book 3 that way. Like I'm not on the verge of my seat trying to read book 3. I have book 3, but I've not felt the urge or the need to read it because I don't know. But I read this book 4 stars. It was good. It was really nice. I loved Bridget Camera. She's the author of the book. I feel like that's why I still want to read book 3. She wrote some books that I really love. Illustrated to the Lost and some other books in that series. And yeah, I'm going to continue the series, but I don't know when. Next book I read was No Gravity by Rudy Francisco. Rudy Francisco is my favorite poetry author. I love everything this man writes. Every word speaks to me. I love poetry, and especially when it's written well in a way that I would have to, calm down and try to, it feels like the words have code names, do you understand? Like I have to calm down and try to interpret it, do you understand? But yeah, I loved this book so much and I rated it 4 stars. It was very short, so there was not too much. I was just sad that it ended. The next book I read was We Should All Be Feminists. This is the beginning of my love for Chimamanda. A lot of people have raved about Chimamanda. They've talked about Chimamanda, talked about her writing, how she's amazing, how she's awesome, but I've never read any of her books until I read We Should All Be Feminists. And there's a particular section of the book that still replays in my head. It's just beautiful, honestly. I highly recommend. Rated this book 5 stars off the charts. Amazing book, highly recommend. Then I ended the month with Ogadima or Everything Will Be Alright. Spoiler alert, nothing was alright. I just don't know why a lot of Nigerian authors love trauma dumping. Like they just like when one bad thing happens after another bad thing, after another bad thing, after another bad thing, and sometimes they don't concentrate on the writing. I don't know. If you're going to break my heart, break it in a poetic way. Break it in a way that I would feel very attached to the characters and then feel whatever trauma you're trying to share with me. Do you understand? Anyways, it follows Ogadima and all the turmoil and bad things that happen to Ogadima. I rated this book 3 stars because I honestly couldn't connect to the characters and it honestly felt just like a book. I wanted it to feel real. Do you understand? It didn't feel like reading Aduni's story because they kind of had similar story. Do you understand? But like I couldn't connect that well. Now let's move on to February. In February, I read just 4 books, you guys. I still cannot believe that I couldn't even reach my reading goal for 2024. It's still crazy to me, but let's move on. In February, like I said, I read 4 books only. First book was The Shadi Setup, which was nice. I love reading about Indian culture, the marriage, the aunties, the mom, the dad, the brothers, all the stuff. It just it's really nice. And as much as I don't remember anything about this book, I only remember the first scene of her walking her dogs. Crazy, but yeah, I don't remember anything. It felt kind of bland, kind of plain. Nothing too crazy, nothing spectacular, nothing out of the world. It was just there. So obviously I rated it 3 stars. Not like 3 stars is bad, but I honestly give 3 stars to books that while reading it, they could keep my attention and they felt okay. But if I'm going to rate it based on, am I going to think about this book again? Is this book spectacular? Is the writing spectacular? The character's going to live with me for the rest of my life? If I'm going to rate it based on that, it's going to be a 3 stars. For sure. So next book was 6 of Crows, and this is my obsession with Kaz. I have not continued this book because I honestly feel like I'm scared that book 2 might not hit as book 1, or maybe some things will happen that I'm not going to be happy with. That's why I haven't continued this series. But 6 of Crows was amazing. Kaz. I rated this book 4 stars. Yeah, it was 4 stars. It was good. It was nice. I just felt like it was a bit long. I don't know. Why did I read this book 4 stars? I don't know. It's just something I don't see myself thinking about every now and then. So I rated it 4 stars. It was okay. It was good. I like it. Highly recommend. Hoping to read book 2 in 2025. Next book was Playing Hard to Get, The Players. It's a series by Monica Murphy. Everybody loves this author. Everybody reads about this author. So fortunately for me, I joined a book club which doesn't exist anymore that picked this book, and this was the worst decision of my entire life. I wish I could take back the time I spent reading on this book. I really didn't like this book at all. I can't remember anything about this book, but looking at the cover, it's about football or soccer, whatever you want to pick. I don't like it. Is it football or soccer? I don't know. But yeah, I don't like this. It was, I don't know. I don't even know the sport that was played in this book, but it was a waste of my time. I rated it 2 stars. Don't know why I rated it 2 stars, but I rated it 2 stars. The thing that is even paining me the most is the fact that, one, I was looking forward to reading a book by Monica Murphy. How do you pronounce that name? Because a lot of people rave about her books. 2, the book club never reviewed this book. We never spoke about this book. So I just read this book for nothing. I rushed through it. I think there was a whole lot of, explicit content that I don't enjoy. So I just kept skipping and I just felt like there was nothing more to the book than those kind of things, which felt weird, and I don't like when authors do that thing. So it just kind of gave me a first impression or an impression of who Monica Murphy is as an author. So next book I read was The Darkest Corner. I can't even pronounce corner. The Darkest Corner of the Heart. This is book 2 in the Brightest Light series. I read the first one, I think 2023. I wouldn't say I enjoyed it, but I liked it. It was okay. It was nice. It was nice to read. I enjoyed reading it. Okay, I didn't feel like I wasted my time reading it. That's the first book. Same for the second book. But I don't know. The second book was starting to feel like a typical romance thing, like how everyone read a romance book, which I didn't like. I didn't like that part. It felt very, this is what everybody's writing type of thing. But I read it and I rated it 3 stars. Let's move on to March. In March, I read just 2 books. I cannot believe this. I read 2 books in March, like 1, 2. I feel like that was when, oh my god, March was like one of the busiest months for me. That's why I didn't read as much. I read 2 books. Oh my god, can't believe this. I feel like that's when work started feeling like work. There was so much going on in my life at that time. It was crazy. It was wild. But let's talk about the 2 books I read in March. First book was Rock and Hard Place by Juliana Smith. This is part of the Wells Family series. I read 2 of the books in 2023. And I liked both books, so I was like, you know what, let me read another book. Okay, so I decided to read this one. It's a second chance romance. It was nice, but nothing spectacular. I don't think it's the standard for second chance romance for me, but I enjoyed it. I liked it. I don't think I wasted my time reading this book. I rated it 4 stars. Do I recommend? I think so. Yeah, it's nothing spectacular, so it's not something that I would want to sit and talk about or rave about. Do you understand? But I enjoyed my time reading it, and I really loved the fact that their kids had a part to play in their relationship. It was wonderful to see, and yeah, I loved it. It was nice. Then the second book I read was The One Who Sees Me. This is book 3 in the Sovereign Love series by Joanne Mbola. I feel like I've talked about Joanne Mbola a lot of times on this channel. She's a Christian romance author, and I really enjoy her books. I love the way she writes about God, writes about romantic relationships rather, and she doesn't write it in a cringe or cheesy way. It feels very real, very human. Like people are going through things, and you know, having a relationship with God. It felt just very realistic, and I really enjoy reading her books. I rated this one 4 stars. This was between Heather. Oh my god, you guys, I don't know why I keep forgetting books that I read, except it's 5 stars. It's never going to leave in my head, but just know I enjoyed it, and it was nice. It was good. Okay, I think it's a work. I don't know if it's a workplace romance. Was it? Oh god, I don't know. Let's move on to April. Well, in April, I read 7 books. That's good. Clap for me. Clap for me. This was when I was just coming out of my reading slump. I fell into a reading slump. Not like a life slump as in March. Like I said, March was very busy. So much was going on in my life. So I fell into a reading slump, and I didn't read until probably mid-April. But when I started reading back to back. I can never forget that time. And then the back-to-back reading gave me a book hangover. And it was just one author I was reading for a very long time. We're going to talk about the books very soon. The next couple of books I'm going to talking about are by the same author, which is Adesua Oman Nko KD. Really hope I'm not butchering that name. I read the Bridesmaids series by Adesua. So the first one was The One, which is the one that, you know, started the series. This is a prequel. It's the start of the series, Shy. It's the one that opens the whole thing, introduces you to the characters, and you have a background on what to expect in the following books. Do you understand? This book I rated it 4 stars. It was nice. It was good. I feel like this was my favorite book in all of the books that I read. This just gave me a whole new definition of romance books written by Nigerian authors, and I loved it. She did really well. Next book was, this is book 1. It's Ginika's Bridesmaid series. Do you understand? So the first one was the starter. The previous book I talk about is not book 1. It's the prequel. It's the one that starts it, so it's called D1. The second book is now the first book. I don't know if what I'm saying makes any sense. So now we're going to talk about book 1, which is Ara's story. Like I said, you have to read the prequel, however they call it, to understand the characters and all the characters you're going to be introduced to in the coming books. So book 1 was about Ara. This girl was very dumb. I really wish I could see her and knock her head and slap her a little bit. The thing she was doing, they kept annoying me, so I gave this book 3 stars. Very annoying me. Book 2, which was about Isioma, right? Isioma. I love this. I love this a lot. It was that workplace romance that I didn't even know I needed. 4 stars. 4 freaking stars. And I don't think any of her books contain explicit content. I can't remember. I'm so sorry. Because I keep skipping all those kind of things. So I don't even know whether it has or the details or whatever. But yeah, I recommend. Book 3 was about Ife. My love. Oh my god, you guys. Ife went through a whole lot. Oh my god. I feel for Ife. Oh gosh. I'm just so happy that she ended up with someone that valued her. Do you understand? And that showed her romance. Love. Oh my god. I loved it. Okay. And I feel like one thing I should mention about this author is that her writing style is nothing extraordinary. Don't expect a out of this world, poetic, lyrical writing, because that's not what you're going to get. You're going to get basic writing. Do you understand? It's the story that now makes it feel like, oh yeah, this is worth my time. So yeah, just a disclaimer. For Ife, first book, I rated it 4 stars as well. And then I was like, you know what, let me take a break from this bridesmaid story and just try another book by this author. And I tried Call Me Like a Chi. I didn't enjoy this one like I enjoyed the other ones. It didn't feel so, I don't know, I just didn't like it as much. So I rated it 3 stars. Then the next book went back to the series. The series is Genika's Bridesmaid. I don't think I explained this enough. So Adesua wrote a collection of books named it Genika's Bridesmaid. The first one, technically, which is a prologue introducing the characters and the first story, gives you a background of the characters that you're going to be introduced. And every book after that one, book 1, 2, 3, 4, is about Genika's bridesmaid. Genika is more or less like the main character, and she has bridesmaids. I think she has 4 or 5 bridesmaids. So every book is following every bridesmaid. Do you understand? I think now I just explained it. So moving on to book 4, which is about Ozioma. This was chaotic. This was so chaotic, so crazy. But like, I loved it. I loved it a lot. Now I'm remembering the ending. Oh my god, it was nice. It was cool. But I feel like the chaos was way more than the niceness. So I rated this book 3 stars. And last but not the least in the series is Genika's story herself, book 5. Genika, if I catch you. Genika, if I catch you, I'll beat you up. Oh my god. I don't want to give spoilers, but I just want to know that Genika messed up. She fell my hand. She messed up so freaking bad. Like, why would you mess up something so beautiful? But yeah, I rated this 4 stars because I really enjoyed it and it brought out some emotions. Do you understand? Let's move on. Not be forgetting the month after April. Let's move on to May. In May, I read 0 books. I read nothing. Absolutely nothing. I went through a whole month without picking up a book, without ebook or physical copy. I read absolutely nothing. I still can't believe it that I went a whole month, 31 days. I didn't pick up one book. Wild. Let's move on to June. In June, I read 2 books. I don't know why, but I read just 2 books. And the first book was Love Unwritten, book 2 in the Lakefront Billionaire series by Lauren Asher. Lauren is part of the people that will write a newspaper and I would read it. But I feel like the only thing I don't like about her books is those scenes, because I have to skip them. I just really wish I could read the book without having those scenes. I don't know how many, but yeah, I had to skip. I don't know why authors just keep including those things. Like, can you guys just close the door and let's just have a blissful time reading about these characters? One thing I love about Lauren Asher's characters is that they have a bit of depth. They're not just regular human beings that are grumpy or yeah, this one is sad. No, they have reasons for being that way. They have reasons for being closed off, and it's just not a trauma dump type of story. They have legitimate reasons, and it's just so beautiful to see them decide to, you know, heal and open up to the partner. And this was really nice. This is book 2 in the Lakefront Billionaire series. The book 1 is, I can't remember the name of the book 1, but this is book 2. I really enjoyed it. I liked it. If you're familiar with my channel, you know I don't say too much about books, so by now you now won't talk about that book. But this is a single dad and nanny trope, and it was good. Okay, the second book, which was, I just read two books, well, is For the Record, also another book in the Wells Family series by Juliana Smith. This is book 4. It's I would say it's a marriage of convenience, but they got married drunk and now they have to stay married. I still don't understand that trope, but I enjoyed the way this author wrote it, so I rated it 4 stars. Now let's move on to July. Felt like I wanted to keep a streak, so in July I read 2 books. I read 2 books as well. First book was Reckless by Lauren Roberts. If you know book 1, Powerless by Lauren Roberts, then you know why I had to say the title that way. I enjoyed this book. Give me book 3. Where is book 3? I'm just so happy we're in a new year, so there's something to look forward to. Excited. And then I decided that was a good time to read Athena's story, which is Padian's friend. If you've read Powerless, you know Padian's friend. Decided to read her book, which was powerful. If you know how book 1 ended, you know that reading Powerful is like getting yourself ready for heartbreak. So yeah. Oh wait, I didn't say the rating. Of course, Reckless is 5 stars. But yeah, for Powerful, I rated it 4 stars. It was beautiful. It was nice. But the ending, if you've read Powerless, you already know what happens, but it still didn't make it any less painful. Let's move on to August. In August, I read 3 books, decided to leave the 2 book streak and decide to, you know, up it up a notch, top it up. Do you understand? So the first book I read was Where We End and Begin. I honestly did not enjoy this book. But I gave it 3 stars. I don't know why I gave this book 3 stars. I feel like it was more of a 2-star type of thing. Teenage love, you meet again, rekindle the love. I would never understand how people stay in love for such a very, very long time, even while apart, and then you see each other again and they want to rekindle that kind of thing. See what I say about second chance romance? I feel like except written in a very deep way. I don't understand. This just felt very surface level, so I couldn't really, build the love as much as you're describing it. So then I read Daydream by Hannah Grace. Everybody has been raving about Hannah Grace. She's a good author. She's a this author. She's a that author. So I decided to read Daydream by Hannah Grace. Apparently, it's part of the Maple Hills series. I can't remember anything about this book. I only remember Henry. It was a basic romance book for me. Honestly, nothing spectacular, but I rated it 4 stars. I think I really enjoyed my time reading it, so I rated it 4 stars. But I can't remember the details of this book. I can't remember so much about this book. I don't think it even had that much depth to it, but I enjoyed my time. But yeah, there were scenes I didn't really like. So best believe this is the end of Anna Grace and I. No, thank you. I honestly don't enjoy books that open the door and we seem, I don't. Close the door, okay? Close the damn door. I don't want to see anything. Close it. Why do others keep doing that? Like, close it. I'll just be peacefully reading and oh my God. I have to close the door myself. Do the job for me. Anyways, and the next book was Marriage and Masty. Another accidental marriage. I don't know why I rated this book 4 stars. Oh, I know why. Like I think I mentioned it earlier that I really love reading about Indian culture, the aunties, the uncles, the sisters, all of that. So I think that's why I fell in love with this book, because it just felt very nice seeing the mom believing the, marriage. They got married accidentally, I have to stay married. But like having to see the mom very happy for her son and all of that, it just felt very cute and very nice. I think there are some scenes that I skipped as well in this one. Can't remember the details. But yeah, 4 stars. I think I enjoyed my time reading this. And then we move on to September. I didn't read anything in September, but there's a book I eventually finished. I started this book in July and I finished it in September. I didn't even finish it. I DNF'd it. I was like, you know what? Enough is enough. Let me read this book finally and get it off my, books I haven't finished yet. Do you understand? So yeah, this book was When I Think of You. I've talked about this book in my books I haven't thought about. Is it in that video? I don't know. But I've talked about it in one of my videos. I didn't enjoy this book at all. The female main character was pissing me off. I wanted to just hold her, slap her, knock some senses into her. I did not enjoy this book at all. But I gave it 2 stars. I don't know why, but I still gave it 2 stars. Then we move on to October. I read nothing. I can't believe I didn't read anything in October. Crazy. But in October, I read nothing. In November, I started a book. I started a book, okay? In November, I started a book, but I didn't finish it. So technically, I read nothing in November. And now, let's move on to December. So in December, I read 7 books, plus the one I didn't finish in November. So yeah, it's 7, side eye. Anyways, the book I started in November but finished in December was The One Who Holds Me. This was book 4 in the Sovereign Love series by Joan Mbola. I enjoyed this book, but it's a second chance romance and it had a then and now timeline. 2 things I'm not a huge fan of, but Joan Mbola is an author I really love. So I gave this book a chance. It was nice, not a waste of my time. I enjoyed it, but it just took so much time for me to finish because it had dual timelines and it was second chance romance. So I honestly took my time to read it. But yeah, it was good. Rated it 4 stars. And this is when Fatima Bala came into my life. As you all might have watched the vlog, I read Broken by Fatima Bala. Fatima, you did a good job, okay? You made me feel things. And she reminded me of why I read. Like I said, if you're going to break my heart, make it poetic, break it in a beautiful way. She did that and she put it back together. This book was beautiful. It was amazing. Like I couldn't put it down. Like that's how interested I was in reading that book. I could not put it down and I rated it 4 stars. Second book I read in December was The Rule Book. This is the second book in the cheat sheet book. I read the cheat sheet, I think early 2023 or late 2022. Can't remember. It's by Sarah Adams. But honestly, this book made me rant. There's a video of me ranting about being tired of reading the same books over and over again. This was the book that caused it. This was the book that brought up that video because it honestly felt repetitive. It felt like every other romance book that I've ever read. It felt very bland, very surface level. And Sarah Adams is someone that I really, really love. She's an author that I love so much. So I wasn't expecting that from her because I'm already used to her writing. I think I've read read a couple books from her. 2 or 3 were audiobooks. One was a cheat sheet itself. This is like a second book in the cheat sheet series. But yeah, the first one was a cheat sheet itself, and it was nice. It was beautiful to read that. And it was closed door, but this one wasn't. And that just broke my heart over again. Oh no, I've read a couple books apart from the cheat sheet book. I've read When in Rome and the second one after that. That second book in that series was the beginning of her books feeling like every other romance novel. And I'm just sad it's that way, but you never know. Authors are growing, they're changing, and you as a reader, sometimes you also have to grow and change. And yeah, your favorite authors might turn out to not be your favorite authors anymore. But we move on. I rated this book 3 stars. Next book I read was Afsatu Baby, another book that I honestly feel like once I see Fatima Bala, I'm gonna throw hands. It's on sight. Once I see her, it's really on sight, because why did she play with my emotions like this? At first, I was so confused about the dual timeline, but with time, it all made sense why that was necessary. I'm still heartbroken. I'm still sad from this book. I rated it 4 stars. It literally says a story about identity and loss, but I don't know what I was thinking, but it wasn't what I was thinking. I'm just sad and heartbroken. Then the next book I read was Mother Country by Etaf Rom, one of my favorite authors. I love how this woman writes. She writes about a specific country that I've grown so much interest in, and this was very short but straight to the point, and best believe that it did the job, or whatever aim she wanted it to have. It was accurate, okay? Accurate. I rated this book 4 stars. I finished it in less than a day. That's how engaged I was. And then I read Odufa, A Lover's Tale. This was the type of book that I had to push through, but best believe if I knew that this book was going to turn out this way, I wouldn't pick it up at the bookstore. I'll put it back. I think I would even pick Aviara over this, because that one was even prettier than this one, and I felt like my mind was more aligned with Aviara than it was aligned with Odufa. This was chaotic, messy, a bit unnecessary. There's no closure, and this book just ends with him ending with, I don't know, it just ends there, and it's just somehow to me. Like I said, sometimes Nigerian authors, they love trauma, so sometimes they dump it on you, but this wasn't a dumped one. This one just felt like, okay, this book is going this way. How am I going to end it? You know what? Let me just end it this way. That's how I felt. Didn't feel like there was a concrete reason as to why it had to end like that. Do you understand? But then if you look at it from another point of view, you might say, okay, maybe it's supposed to end like that. At this point, I don't even know. All I know is I read it. It kept me engaged, but like, I don't think I would recommend, okay? I didn't like it as much, but I rated it 3 stars because it kept me engaged. Like, I still wanted to read it and know what would happen at the end. Then last but not the least, which I feel like is cheating. I'm not supposed to add this book. Closer to God Each Day, a 365 devotional for everyday living. Crazy. Like, yeah, I add my devotionals to my book spread for the year, and that is the last book I read in December and in 2024. Well, unfortunately, I have to stop talking right now. Maybe fortunately for you, you're glad this video has finally ended, but you watched it to the end. So I guess you enjoyed listening to me or watching me. So why would you be glad that it ended? You should be sad that it ended. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, whether you enjoyed or not. As long as it got to this part where I'm thanking you for watching, you've done me a very, very, very big favor. I'm just going to ask that you also go an extra mile, like this video, also leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think, and I will see you in my next video. Love you so much. Mwah, mwah, mwah.